A historic storm is forming in the global economy. BRICS nations and Europe have come together in a move that could shake the very foundation of the US dollar's dominance. For decades, the United States has held unparalleled financial power, with the dollar acting as the backbone of international trade. But now, this alliance is challenging the control in ways that could have profound effects on every American, from the price of groceries to the stability of savings and investments. If you want to understand how this unprecedented deal could transform global trade and US influence, stay tuned. Before we dive in, make sure you hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, and like this video so you never miss updates on the major economic shifts that could change the world. The rise of a powerful alliance. The BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, have long represented an alternative to Western economic influence. Each of these countries has unique strengths, from vast natural resources to rapidly growing markets and technological advancements. Europe, on the other hand, has historically been aligned with the United States in global finance. But recent developments indicate that both BRICS and Europe are now joining forces in a historic alliance aimed at reducing reliance on the US dollar. This is not a small adjustment, it is a strategic and deliberate effort to create a multipolar global economy where America no longer has unchecked financial leverage. By conducting trade in local currencies, investing in non-dollar reserves, and utilizing alternative payment systems, these countries are preparing to lessen their exposure to the policies and influence of the United States. Beyond the immediate economic implications, this alliance also signals a geopolitical shift, as nations increasingly recognize the importance of collective strength over reliance on a single dominant power. Understanding the dollar's dominance. To fully grasp the gravity of this move, it's essential to understand why the US dollar holds such global significance. The dollar is far more than just the currency used in America. It underpins almost every international transaction, from energy and commodities to technology and food. Because the majority of global trade is conducted in dollars, the United States can influence interest rates worldwide, impose economic sanctions that have real teeth, and maintain lower borrowing costs compared to other nations. In short, the dollar provides the United States with enormous power on the global stage. But if BRICS and Europe succeed in shifting trade away from the dollar, this dominance could erode. The impact would be felt not only in government finances but in the wallets of everyday Americans, as higher prices, inflation, and economic uncertainty begin to ripple through the economy. A weakened dollar could also undermine investor confidence, prompt central banks to diversify reserves into other currencies, and force multinational corporations to rethink pricing strategies. This shift has the potential to alter the fundamental way the global financial system operates, challenging decades of established economic norms and requiring a complete reassessment of US fiscal and monetary policy. How the alliance will operate. The new alliance between BRICS and Europe will operate on multiple levels, each designed to reduce reliance on the dollar. Currency swaps will allow nations to trade goods and services directly in their own currencies, bypassing the need for US dollars. Alternative payment systems, like Russia's SPFS or China's CIPS, can replace SWIFT, the global messaging system that has long facilitated dollar transactions. Countries are also diversifying their reserves, investing heavily in euros, yuan, and gold rather than holding massive dollar reserves. These measures together chip away at the dollar's dominance, creating a world where American financial influence is no longer automatic or guaranteed. The alliance is not merely a reaction to US policies, it is a proactive reshaping of global finance, designed to create independence and resilience against American leverage. The threat to US economic power. For the United States, and particularly for the strategies pursued during the Trump administration, this represents a monumental challenge. Trump's approach relied heavily on tariffs, sanctions, and the sheer weight of the dollar to pressure nations into compliance. If those same countries can now trade and invest without using the dollar, much of that leverage disappears. The potential consequences are severe. The US could face higher borrowing costs as demand for Treasury bonds declines. The dollar itself could weaken against other major currencies, reducing its purchasing power and making imports more expensive. Even political allies may struggle to defend the United States' financial position, as global economic influence slowly shifts toward a multipolar system where no single nation can dictate terms. Global reactions and economic uncertainty. The global reaction to this alliance has been swift and intense. Economists warn that the move could destabilize the world economy, as the dollar has long served as a stabilizing force. Others argue that this realignment is a natural evolution, reflecting a multipolar world where economic power is distributed more evenly. Financial markets are already responding. Investors are closely monitoring the dollar, while shifting some of their portfolios into alternatives like gold, the Chinese yuan, and even cryptocurrencies. Businesses involved in international trade face new challenges, as contracts and pricing may need to be recalibrated to accommodate a world less dependent on the US dollar. The uncertainty alone can ripple through markets, affecting everything from investment decisions to employment trends. The ripple effect on everyday Americans. While much of this conversation happens in boardrooms and financial capitals, the effects will trickle down to ordinary Americans. A weaker dollar could make imports more expensive, driving up the cost of electronics, cars, and clothing. Inflation may rise, putting pressure on grocery bills, housing, and gas prices. Interest rates could increase, making mortgages, auto loans, and credit card debt more expensive. The chain reaction could touch every corner of daily life, reminding citizens that global financial strategies are never distant or abstract, they directly shape the economic realities at home. Why this alliance is happening now? Timing is critical. Several factors are pushing BRICS and Europe toward this historic deal. US sanctions and aggressive trade policies have created a desire for independence from dollar-based financial systems. Rising geopolitical tensions, including conflicts in Eastern Europe, Asia, and the Middle East, make financial autonomy even more important. Technological advancements, particularly in digital currencies and alternative payment networks, make bypassing the dollar easier than ever. Together, these factors create a perfect storm for a realignment of global trade, one that could shift decades of economic power away from the United States. Can the United States respond? The United States will not remain passive. Potential responses could include imposing new tariffs and trade restrictions, strengthening alliances with friendly nations, or creating innovative financial mechanisms such as a digital dollar. Yet even with these measures, the challenge is enormous. The dollar's influence is deeply entrenched, but history shows that no currency remains dominant forever. The United States may maintain some control, but the world is moving toward a more balanced financial ecosystem where multiple currencies share influence and power. Long-term consequences for global finance. The implications of this alliance are vast. A shift away from dollar dominance could lead to a long-term decline in American financial influence, weakening the United States' ability to dictate terms in international trade and finance. Global trade may become more multipolar, allowing countries greater independence from US-led sanctions and policies, and fostering a system where regional economic blocs have more power over global decisions. The financial system itself may undergo structural changes, with alternative payment networks, digital currencies, and other non-dollar financial instruments gaining prominence. What we are witnessing is more than a policy shift, it is the beginning of a new era in global economics, one where the rules are being rewritten, traditional hierarchies are challenged, and America's role as the ultimate economic power is increasingly contested. This evolution could also encourage nations to strengthen regional cooperation, diversify investments, and develop new trade agreements that bypass traditional dollar-centric systems, fundamentally reshaping how international finance operates for decades to come. The BRICS and Europe alliance is not just a headline or a fleeting news story, it is a profound challenge to the United States' economic strategy. The dollar may no longer be untouchable, and the US will need to adapt quickly to maintain global stability and influence. For investors, policymakers, and citizens alike, understanding this historic shift is essential. The world is changing, and this unprecedented move signals that the era of unchallenged American financial dominance may be coming to an end. If you found this breakdown eye-opening, make sure to hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, and like this video so you never miss updates on global finance, trade, and the future of the US dollar. Drop a comment below with your thoughts. Do you think America can retain its financial dominance, or is the dollar era finally ending? Share this video with friends and family so they understand the stakes in this global economic shift.